All right. We are moving and shaking. All right. So everyone has a personal dashboard now, and your dashboards will look different than mine. So essentially, this is for you to change however you want, right? And the best way to just add things in here is you can just go at any point or anywhere on the dashboard. You can go backslash, and you can add like a page. So you can just go like link. You start typing in link. You can link to a page. And then if you say I wanted to link to this web times via, I would just start typing in web times via, click on it, and then drag that up into my list, right? So it's customizable. There's a lot of different ways that you can change things in here, but I've set them up, at least in the short term, for you guys of like based off what I think you guys will use the most. So again, yours will look a little bit different. On the right here, you'll have quick links. So anything that you use often, for me, obviously, PandaDoc or password stock, ClickMinded, SEMrush. And then in here is a couple things that I think everyone needs to take a look at. So this Notion Bulletproof guide is essentially the template and the framework which I purchased for our Notion workspace. So you can watch these videos. This gives you high-level overviews of exactly how our workspace works on the most basic level of setup all the way through creating your own tasks, all that good stuff. It kind of helps you connect the dots if you want. You don't need to know how our whole system works and how all the databases work to work effectively in Notion. But, you know, for me, I'm someone who needs kind of like that overall view of it to really understand the micro. So that's helpful. And then in here too is Notion's help and support docs. So this is kind of cool. This is just part of Notion, but I mean, literally anything that you need questions on, I mean, it has them in here. So this is a really good resource for anything that, you know, hey, I have a question on this. Before I go, you know, ask the team, I'm going to go check to see if we have any resources on it first. So that's good stuff in there. And then Via University is another thing I created. Everyone should have access to this. This will get built out over time, but I have quick links up here. I have ClickMinded. So obviously that's that SOP library that we purchased. I think Amy said she had used it a few times to look up some Facebook stuff. There's a ton of awesome SOPs and ideas on how to do things or how to look at things from a strategy perspective in ClickMinded, but we will slowly customize those and build these out in here. But you can see we have SOPs, right? So right now I just have one in here to create monthly client reports. I have Notion how-to. So this is how to request a maintenance task, how to create a new web project, how to create a new marketing project, how to create a new marketing task that's recurring. So again, we will build these out over time. And if you guys come to me and say, hey, I'd like a how-to guide on this, I can create that. But in your personal dashboard, that is also conveniently right here. So any of the Notion guides that we create, I'm going to add them in here. And then you guys can have these quick reference. So on the right is the databases. So everything in Notion is first put in a database, right? So organizations, that is anything that is something that we touch in the sales pipeline. That could be a vendor, that could be a partner. So, you know, we have like Evoke would be a vendor or a partner as an organization. They would have their own profile. A new sales lead would come through. They would get an organization first. Once they close, they then become a bucket. That bucket is where we house the general information on the account. Who's the contact? Who are the billing contacts? What's the website URL? What's the Google Drive link? From there, we have projects, right? It could be a web project, and that's where all of these projects live, right? So say for Blue Ox, we have a new website project going for them. That's on the website projects. On the marketing side, we have recurring monthly. That's on the marketing side for projects. So that's a hierarchy of the databases. And then the people in here, if that's at any point you want to add a contact, you can add people in there and resources as well. So if at any point you just need to get to these databases themselves, you can just go and click directly in there. Then we have the team directory as well. Moving down here, the to-dos, I set this up for everyone. You obviously can change these and add whatever you want to it. But essentially what I've found and what I've read studies over and over is like, if you have to-do lists to do, the best way to set these up is to have a 1, 2, 3 priority section and move tasks up accordingly. So during the week, I will have different tasks that I need done. I will set these as priorities for the week, and I'll check them off as I go. So yours can look completely different. You can add whatever you want there. The My Task Planner, so we've gone over this before, but this is where all of your personal tasks will live, and anything that is set to me. So in these dashboards, if you're logged in, it's going to show the task for you, right? And the key thing here is that we have these drop downs, right? And we have the planner, and this will essentially give you all of the tasks that are scheduled at least a month from now, if they're overdue, or a month from now. So this planner will show you everything coming up in the next month. But like I've showed you before, if I wanted to set a due date, a DO date, right, of like, all right, I'm going to make sure I get these 3 tasks done on this date, I can set the DO date for today. And when I drop down this menu and I go to today, it'll show that I have a task here ready to go for today. So guys, we could literally, you could take all your tasks for the month and set the DO date, and just every day come up and pull up this today planner, and then boom, you have all those tasks that you need to get done that day. So that's one part of this. Another part of this is creating your own tasks. So you can see here, I have a variety of different tasks that are assigned to me. Some of these are recurring, but one here is just like a reminder. Like I need to check with Josh on the CDT and CW Suitor video projects. So essentially, I just created this task like so. I'll go check with Josh test. This is just a reminder. I'll open this up. I'll go down all the way to the bottom, and this, I just have a new template for general reminder. Click that. It'll just create this little icon for you. You can set the due date to whatever you want, and then boom, that will show up in your task as a reminder. And then you can set that DO date to remind you of, hey, all right, on that date, I need to reach out. I just go back up here. I go to this today planner, and then it's in there if I set that DO date to today. So, I mean, me personally, I'm going to start using this for all of my task planning, and it's going to, help me organize some of this stuff. But I think, personally, I would just set like a weekly reminder to organize your tasks, and that could be the week before or the week of, but just kind of help you guys stack out those tasks and organize them better. So anyone have any questions on that specifically? Okay. All right, so next up here is the My Hubs. Again, this is another section that will look different for you guys, but as you guys learn more about Notion and how to use this, you guys can customize these sections however you want. But I have just little helpful hubs for myself, right? We have like the sales pipeline, I have proposal tasks, upsell tasks, flag client upsell opportunities that I can just quickly come in and peek at. And so this is like for Adam, Sean, the sales team, the admin team, they should all have these, and those will be helpful. Marketing strategy. So in here, this is like a dashboard that Adam has specifically where he can go and look, and Wyatt can go and look at all these accounts and see which accounts need strategy, what do we need to do on them, all that good stuff. For CJ and Andrew, I put in, I don't know if I put in these yet, but I will, but just sections that show you like, hey, we need an audit on these accounts for these, for these accounts and in these areas. So again, we'll look through these. Maybe there's some things that you guys need, some things that you guys like to see. Just let me know and I can build those out. But one of the main things for almost everyone is they'll have this task management, and this will just show like anything that's needs to be rescheduled in Notion or that's overdue in Notion. So that way we can keep task of like, all right, here's the task that we need to have on our radar and get done over the next couple of days or week or whatever that looks like. You also should have this web maintenance request. So you can see in here to make a web maintenance task request, you can just go right here. into this hub. And so I think it'd probably be helpful for us to run through a sample web maintenance task request. So say, you have something that you need done on the Blue Ox site. Go ahead, type that in. You can put the urgency as high. I can put the project as Blue Ox. Marketing, like this is part of the marketing teams. You put who's responsible. Typically it's Tristan. So you would put Tristan in, and then you would set that due date. Now, if you need to provide more information and more color for Tristan or whoever else, you come in here, and this is where you can scroll down. You can either just make notes, you can add a comment, but this is where you can add more color and provide them more information. So that's a pretty easy way to just get to the maintenance requests, and Tristan's knocking those out pretty quickly. So next up, some of you will have an overview of like the marketing accounts. Again, I think an important thing to point out is these filters. So I have set up a bunch of filters, and some of these are more account management related. So AM, right? Some of these are ad account related. Some of these are SEO account related. So if I'm on the SEO team and I only want to see SEO account overview on this page, I'll just slide that up. And now every time I open this page, SEO accounts overview will be the one that shows up first. I specifically need to be just looking at the account management overview. This is helpful for me. So I have that view, but you guys can play around with whatever you like. And at any point, you want to see like, all right, I want to see all the ad accounts that are just Google search. You can pull that up. It'll show you who's the PPC, what's the Google search spend. Here's the search ads, StratDoc, GDS, all that good stuff. Same with all this other stuff. I can see, all right, here's the accounts that we need to get a scheduled call. So Sean, these will be helpful. I don't know, is Sean even on here?
I don't think so.
Okay. So Sean, this will be helpful when you watch this recording. Okay. So then moving on here, we have the calendar. So this is an important part to point out, and how I use this and how I think we should use this as a team moving forward. So today I have a call with Blokes, I have a call with a Choosel rep, and I have a call with Easy Drug Card. And in each one of these, I've created a meeting ahead of time. And I might set these up as recurring moving forward. I'm still working through that. So then you guys could just know, like, I'm going to add a couple of questions in this recurring meeting, and I know the account manager will see it and then communicate it. I'm still sorting through that. But in the meantime, any meeting that you have, we really should create a meeting in Notion for. And so again, Easy Drug Card, I have a call today. I went in here and put that the type was a client. It is happening today. The attendees are me and Andrew. It's tied to the Easy Drug Card marketing project. And I'm going to speak to Mary Ann. So I'll show you guys how to set this up in just a second. But you can see I have an agenda here. I need to review some data. I need to review their new assets, talk about investing in new video assets, and then I'm going to try to upsell her on Facebook ads or retargeting. So in here, right, anyone can come in here, put those pre-call notes. Like if Andrew had some things he specifically wanted to show from a data perspective, he could add those in here. As we're having that call, we jot those down. Once that call is done, you add these action items. And then once you have those action items, maybe you don't have enough time to go ahead and set tasks for each one of those action items. But at the end of the day, you can come back and review all of these meetings notes, pick out the action items, and set tasks accordingly. So I think that's probably the most effective way to just kind of manage all these things. And what I've found personally is like, and obviously I'm doing a lot more on the account management side than most on the team are, but what I found specifically is like there's all these balls in the air. If by the end of the day, I know that at least I have all the action items listed out in these meetings, I make it part of my process to go back through those, set the tasks, then I at least know when I close my computer that day, everything's been taken care of, right? And then I set meetings for the next day, set those agendas, then we're good to go. So let's go through creating a new meeting. Down below here, just real quickly, we have these recurring/recent meetings. So this is anything that's recurring that you are actually an attendee of. Yeah. So if you don't see one that you're in, just let me know and I can make you an attendee. But then it also show recent meetings. So like, I just can't remember, I just need to see a list of all my meetings I've had recently. That will pull that up for you. So again, let's go back to creating a meeting. So we'll do a real live one. Actually, I've already created them all. So we'll do a test. So let's say I have a call with Blokes tomorrow, or Blue Ox tomorrow. I would go down here first. I would just hit meeting general. That's that template that preloads all of those sections for you. I would go back up and say that this is a client call. But again, we have the option between internal, prospect, client, vendor, partner, consultant. Client calls tomorrow. The attendees will be me and Adam. So this will now show up on his calendar now that he is attendee. I will then show that the project is Blue Ox. And then I will be speaking to Kevin. So if the person is already loaded into the system, this is where you add them. If they are not already loaded into the system, then you would go down to the bottom here and you would click new and say test. I would go, the contact type would be client. I would go the title. I would put in his email. If we had his phone number, we go into here, put the phone number, but the main thing you want to do for all contacts that you add, and I'll figure out how to add this to the meeting too. But the main thing we want to do is check that these are, like, do they get reports? Are they a billing contact? Are they copy approval? And then we can filter these out across the board, and I can present you guys dashboards that says, all right, this copy, Blue Ox copy is approved by Kevin based off of this one checkbox. So so then once you add that person, sorry, I clicked out of there. Once you add that person, then you're really good to go as far as these properties and the information here. And then you set the agenda again, and you pre-call notes. If you want to add links, blah, 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 you should be good to go there. So again, at the end of every day, I review those action items. I set these tasks in here, and then I create the meetings for the next day, set those agendas, and that's like the end of my day. So say we had to change the ad spend to 10K a month for Google search. So now I'm reviewing my action items. I need to create a new task for that. So new, change Blue Ox Google search spend. Task type would be Google search. Responsible would be Andrew, or whoever is the PPC on that account. Project would be Blue Ox. That's the key thing. We got to make sure we link it to the right projects always. Open this as a page. So again, we're still in that meeting, the Notion meeting. And now I'm just adding a task based off of those action items. There. And then a due date of Friday. So now Andrew should be able to go into his personal dashboard and see this new task that's due. He could then say, all right, I'm going to put a DO date of tomorrow, go to his planner. That's already on his list of things to do for the day. So again, that's a basic rundown of like the personal dashboards and then how I use it myself on a day-to-day basis. I think I covered just about everything on the personal dashboards, the drop downs, the filters, the hubs. I'd like to then open it up to you guys and see what questions you have. And if there's any like scenarios or specific tasks that you want me to run through, I definitely can.
I have one.
You got one? Okay.
Walk everyone through how we need to start making web hosting requests.
Okay. I kind of did that on the personal dashboard, but I'll show you guys. So again, web hosting requests, that's Adam's question, is how do we make those? So you have it in your personal hub here, right? And I kind of showed you guys that of how to create a new task in here and assign it to the person, set the due date, blah, blah, blah. Usually it will be Tristan for these web maintenance tasks. But
Hey,
another
Jared,
way.
reshare your screen.
Oh,
Sorry.
yeah. Great call. Checks out.
First time.
First timer here. Okay, so I already showed you in the personal dashboard, right? So you can go down to My Hubs and you can go to Web Maintenance Requests, and that's where you can make a maintenance request. You just create a task, you set the urgency, you set the project, that's the main one, and the responsible, due date, all that good stuff. But if you wanted to navigate a different way, we have this list, and this should be in almost everyone's dashboard, is the hosting, web hosting/maintenance clients page. You can also get to it through lists. So there's a bunch of ways to get to this. But again, this is the same thing. You just create a new task in here, assign it, and then boom, it's already a hosting/maintenance request. Tristan will see it and then get it done. Excuse me. So yeah, there's multiple ways to get there. It's really just about adding that task and assigning it at that point, Adam. Is that pretty clear for everyone on the web maintenance and hosting? How to get there, how to add tasks?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What other scenarios, questions? Anyone have any?
I think you.
Yeah, I do. Say contractor has idea for something that a project or anything like
Okay.
that, or some sort of a strategy update that they've
Yep.
come up with. Where can they put that?
Yep. Okay. So
Share to share.
yep, I'm going to do that. So there's a few different ways to do this. So one, again, in My Hubs, a lot of you will have upsell requests in there. It'll look a little bit different in here, but you can have an upsell task. And you can navigate this multiple ways, and I'll show both. But right now, so say American Cooling Solutions is an upsell opportunity. I will say PMB, they're interested, or I think they would be a good candidate for programmatic media buying. So then I would tie that to the organization. Solutions. I would put some notes, like, hey, Scott mentioned video ads we should explore. And then based off of who is that account manager on that account, that's where that's who you want to assign it to. But the main thing here is it'll automatically put you as responsible. Once I see it, or whoever is actually responsible for it acknowledges it, talks to you, then they'll take you off as responsible. And you'll set the due date in here, say is the end of the week, and then you should be good to go. If there's any meetings that you had that you want to link to that, that works too. But okay, so that's one way to do it. So that's through your own personal dashboard. Now let's do it through, say the marketing project itself. So I go down to my project overviews. So say I go, and you can get this from you can get to the same marketing project through the SEO dashboard, through the PPC dashboard, but the marketing accounts overview, this is the best way to get to it. You open up this dashboard. You'll scroll down. Current tasks. So that's just a place that you can do new tasks. So you'll say American Cooling Solutions, PMB upsell. You open that up. And what you'll see is we have a template for upsell opportunities. So you just scroll all the way down the bottom, click upsell opportunity. That will preload a few things, right? Like opportunity notes, proposal needs, resources that you think are applicable for that. set responsible, set the due date, and then that's basically it. You put the notes in down here below, and then whoever is responsible for that will get with you if they need any more information. So multiple ways to do that. I think the main thing to point out is we have almost every task that we use quite a bit as a template by now. There might be some that we don't have ready or might not aren't fully polished yet, but at any point you want to go in and create a task, there's probably a template for it already. So again, I just create new, I open it up. And before I do anything, I can just scroll down to the bottom here and look like we have marketing client set up. We have SEO recurring, display recurring, blog setup, Google product setup, Google product ads monthly, marketing client cancellation, all the stuff for web, sales proposal requests, upsell requests, operations someday task, and then general reminders. So again, as you guys start creating tasks and using this more, let me know if there's any templates that you would like to see or any recurring tasks that you use quite a bit that would make sense to make it a template itself. So, so yeah, I think that's basically it on the upsell. I think that's the best way to do it.
What about something specifically that's not upsell, like just an idea of like a strategy point to move forward, so it can communicate with like Jared and Adam?
Yeah. Well, and I think
like something we would review in the Mondays, just like an account note that could be discussed rather than just being face-to-face interaction. There's a note somewhere.
Yeah, so in these dashboards, right? And I think I'm still trying to sift through what's best way to use all this, but essentially I've created some of these statuses that are like PPC flag, SEO flag, Google PPC flag, Facebook IG PPC flag, right? And essentially I want, as an account manager or any of our account managers, to then be able to flag accounts that they see data-wise off the monthly reports and say, hey, the Google search campaigns have been pretty stagnant, or hey, the client's complaining about a lot of bad leads, right? Like I want to be able to flag that and get it on people's radar. But to your point, Wyatt, there are situations where you need a little bit more information than just like, hey, this has been flagged. Like you can just go down here and create a task and say, PPC audit, and then go and then open it up and fill out the information that you want. You could do strategy idea for certain client, right? Or like, hey, Adam, I need to meet with you about this client at some point, about this task that I created. But I think if it's more high level stuff, right, then I think we could just go into these account notes and you could put like Wyatt's notes on SEO for February or March or whatever that is, right? And then on those weekly calls, you could alert us to that, or anyone on the team could alert like, hey guys,
exactly.
I added some notes in here. Take a look at them. Let me know what your thoughts are. And that will spur a conversation for the account managers to have. And then we'll set up a meeting if needed at that point.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm looking for. So we're able to take those suggestions that we have clients out of the note document, strategy document, put them directly into Notion.
Yeah, and I think I need to wrap my arms around the strategy docs that you guys do have, the client workbooks, and you see, how much of it we want to put in here as opposed to just linking to it. Because I think and this is a question for everyone really, and something we can talk about, but like, is it helpful to have Google Docs to use as opposed to Notion for some tasks or some strategy, some note taking, that kind of stuff, So that's something I'm still trying to wrap my arms around. But another thing in all of these dashboards, and I think this is very important that I wish I already covered, but the resources is a big part of this. So if you scroll down to marketing resources, you will see that for American Cooling Solutions, all we really have is their login/password. But we'll go to like blokes so you guys can really see one where I have this start. but we're started building this out. Just a second. So again, opening up Bloke's marketing dashboard. You scroll down to their resources. You can see we have a lot in here. So eventually, what I'm going to do is start filtering these, right? So I'll have like a view that only has ads, a view that only has like promotional materials, a view that only has design assets, right? So we'll get that built out. In the short term, any resource that we have, I really would like it to be added in here. I think it's the best way for us to keep track, and we could throw stuff into Google Drive, but Google Drive just doesn't have the filtering and organization of this. And the file storage is unlimited, I believe, on the premium account. That's what they tell me. I'm not sure if I believe it, but that's what they keep saying. So in the short term, let's add things in here. So say I had a new link for their Google Drive media assets. So Blokes Google Drive media assets. So this, I would just go over here. I would put media assets as the resource type. And guys, if we have other ideas on how we want to organize all that, please let me know. But you could put some notes in here, but then you just put a link right there, and then you're good to go. I personally like adding icons to everything. I think it makes things more scannable. We don't have to like rack our brains on icons and stuff like that, but they're photos or videos. So I can literally just put in a TV. Now we have a Google Drive asset. If you open it up, there'll be a link. The link will be there, blah, blah, blah. Some of these other ones, so like these are just the ads. So it looks like we're just adding these links right in here. And that's perfect. And then it's helpful for me as the account manager to quickly be able to go look at the assets that we have and then walk them through recommendations, changes, edits, all that good stuff. So any questions on the resources side? That is definitely a piece that I need to clean up a little bit more. But again, I think it's helpful to just kind of put all of that stuff in there, even Google Drive links to media assets, links to logins, passwords, anything you guys can really think of like, hey, this is something that the team would reference or other people in the team would reference. I think it would be nice to add those in there. So, and I'm even thinking like if we had like branding guides, like making sure that we add those in there, because that's like a standard, like, hey, does anyone have this logo? Or hey, does anyone have the color that they need for this?
Yeah, for sure.
So I think that's like, there might be ways to shorten our links, but I essentially need to go through and clean up.
Yeah, from the drive, I don't think there is a way to shorten links.
Okay, and it'd probably end up screwing things up anyways, but
Yeah, we'd probably have to build it to be a button as a whole.
yeah. So in the short term, guys, Google Drive, we're just going to keep operating the way we have. We have all the correct links. In the next 2 or 3 months, I need to get all of those drive folders migrated into via shared drives, which could be a mess, could be easy. I don't know. I would leaning towards mess, but it will require us to change out all those links that we have on Notion right now. But just know that will be happening at some point. Nothing to worry about in the short term. So yeah, I think that really covers everything I wanted to cover today. Probably, a little too much to cover in one sitting, but I really just wanted to show you guys like the new personal dashboards that I created, how you guys can use those drop downs, kind of how those filters work in general. But I wouldn't screw around with any of the filters unless you really know what you're doing. But at least you can kind of see like, all right, I can even filter certain views in my personal dashboard of like, now I'm only seeing every task besides my add recurring task. So So I'll show you this real quick. And G, this might be helpful for you and same for Amy, anyone who has like a bunch of recurring tasks. You can go in here and essentially say, I'm going to create a new view on my tasks. So this is how I would go about doing it. So you have your tasks in your planner, right? And we have two views. We have planner and today. So what you could do is say duplicate. So now you have another view here, right? I'm going to drag this down. I'm going to rename it to all tasks or tasks minus add creative or task except add creative. Then I have that set up, and then now, again, you want to make sure you're working within this one, task add except creative. You want to go here, and you want to add a new filter. So add a new filter. I want to go and the task type, which is somewhere in here. Task type does not contain recurring add creative, right? I don't have any of those listed, but for G and Amy, this new view would then show only the tasks that they have that don't have add creative as a task type. So then you can filter out all those, kind of like you sift through all that madness a little bit better.
Nice.
So again, the steps are simply duplicate that view, go down to it, rename it here. Again, there's things you can play with here, but I wouldn't mess with that. Then go over to filter and then add a new filter. Does not contain that specific type. So again, you could do that for anything. You could do it for sales. You could do it for whatever. So that is a little bit more level 2, but if you guys do want, or you guys do want to do that and you need help or have any questions on how to set it up, I'm happy to help. Because I know there are, my tasks look a little bit different. A lot of you have a bunch of recurring that kind of make that view a little bit messier. So what else, guys? Got any questions?